Daily Shift. If you're new to me, hi, my name is Raquel and I'm your GPS for success. All this week, we have been really diving into this concept of flowing in consistent cash. And even if that's not your jam, I want you to stick around because these principles are going to work for you in whatever area that is currently feeling like a burden or maybe feeling like having this sense of lack. So, again, these principles will work. And the email that I sent out and I put the post, the phraseology around that and coming here today was around the broken heart. And when we have a broken heart, and we might think, well, I don't have a broken heart around that. Stick with me. When we have a broken heart around a subject, then it's really hard for us to stay stable. It's really hard for us to really manifest the dream life that is really calling for us. We're craving it, we're wanting it, we're desiring it because what we desire desires us back. I'm a big believer in that, and most of the people that I hang out with believe, whether you call it God or the universe, I call him God because also call him Daddy. And so that is, that we're saturated in this abundant universe. And we talk about this abundant universe all the time. The universe is abundant, but then we say that with one breath, and in the next breath, we're cursing ourselves, not recognizing that we're actually trapping. We are trapped, we are snared by the words that we're saying. Words matter because they become matter. And this is really the crux of everything, is that most of what's happening in your life was just a thought. Thoughts are words, right? So I always say 80-20 rules. It's higher than that, but let's just go with the 80-20 rule because people are more familiar with that concept. That most of the things that are happening, or the results you're getting, are from the 20% effort, right? And so when we are thinking about how do we want to change our lives, how do we want to manifest, I even called it this week the soft life. Why are so many women really pressing into having this soft life? It's because I don't believe they're doing it the right way. Because if you're going to be with a man just because of his money, now that's a transaction. And eventually somebody's going to be cheating because you're doing it for money. You're doing it to get a particular outcome. And now you're not really drawing in the best person for you. The thing is, as a woman, you are the blessing connector. And if you knew the power of who you are and what you're created to bring, then when a man has that provider in him, he desires to provide for you, he'll figure it out. And you will actually multiply his efforts and you will get what you want just by being the good wife. But that's not what today's about. But somebody needs to know that. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to make it too, Angie. Nice to see you. And so if you have any questions and you're here live, go ahead and say hello in the chat and put any of your questions as they're coming up in the chat. I'll see them and then I'll answer them during this. But in this concept, right, of receiving your breakthrough, of your broken heart, it's really those areas where you're not trusting. And so you're either, you're saying that the universe is good, it's abundant, it has your best interest, and yet, or God, and yet, when things are not happening, you're like, oh, the bad thing is happening because I must have a lesson to learn. I must have drawn it in. It's all my fault. And then you put yourself in the center instead of putting yourself in the center of love. Because anyone who has children and is a good parent, I don't set my kids up to go through a negative experience to teach them the lesson. I teach them the lesson by sharing them what the better path is, by giving the example as much as possible, what the better path is, so that through that inspiration, they want them that life. Hi, Michelle. So good to see you. Thanks for coming. So this is the thing. When you are saying in one breath, the universe is abundant, God is good, all things are working together for my good. And then in the next breath, Well, all these things I was set up for this. I must have a soul contract to go through these things to teach me this way. We make up these erroneous philosophies to give us a reason why we're going through some BS. But this is the reason why we go through some BS. One is that we come into this world with some erroneous belief systems. And some of those things we learn, right? Because our belief systems, a lot of them are formed before we're 7 years old, right? Between 0 and 7, and then our personality starts to solidify around by the time we're 13. The thing is that as children, as teenagers, we're still very open. Our prefrontal cortex, which is our decision maker, it's our CEO place, is not even fully developed until we're about 25 years old. So you think that a lot of things are happening to you because of what you have observed to be true when it's not true. In quantum physics, it's called the observer effect. And the observer effect is that these particles are doing something, but can tell what the observer wants, what the observer expects, and then acts accordingly. So what does this mean? The observer influences the outcome through their expectation. You are very powerful. You've been created in the image and likeness of God, which means that what you are expecting to happen becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So a lot of the things that are happening in our lives, boo-boo, is not external. It's internal. And those of us who love this stuff are like, yeah, it's true. But then we don't do the things that we need to do in order for us to really take our power back. Because we have to relearn this and then put it into practice in an easy way. And so I've been talking about this week. On Monday, I'm looking to make sure I'm saying it in the right order. And Monday, I did a subliminal. So you can get into the flow of consistent cash, because I have a lot of my clients are entrepreneurs, or they have this entrepreneurial spirit. And so they have plans. They want to do some good things, but they're going to need some more money to get it done. Money is a great tool. It's a terrible taskmaster. It's a terrible master, but it's an amazing employee. So getting into the flow of cash so that you can do those good works. Because the truth is that all grace is abounding toward you so that you can do those good things. Those good things that are in your heart did not originate from you. That came from the divine source of all good and perfect things, who said, you know what? I can trust you with the money. I want you to have it, because those ideas to do the good works, I want you to go fund that. Go fund it. Everybody's like, oh, go fund me. You're the bank. You're the bank for the GoFundMes in your community, in your neighborhood, in your city, in your state. You're the GoFundMe. And sometimes we don't trust ourselves with money. The more we make, maybe you can make a certain amount of money. But if you're finding that you're hitting, even though you're having 10K months, 20K months, you're hitting a ceiling, that's when you need to start doing this audit. So on Tuesday, I talked about why feeling into the frequency doesn't work. Because again, the erroneous belief system is like, you need to feel into it. You need to hold on to that vibration. You need to become that thing. Yes and no. You're not really attracting what you are. You're magnetized to it. It's different. You're getting pulled to it because nothing has gone wrong. And isn't that good to know? Nothing has gone wrong. Your brain is doing what it's designed to do. Your outcomes are a result of what you have been thinking about over and over again for the last 3 to 6 months. So if you don't like what's manifesting in your life right now, the good news is you can change that. And I'm gonna tell you how to do that easily, because that is your breakthrough. is understanding that the power has been given to you, that grace is there to change the situation, and that awareness of the thought that is actually the kingpin is grace in motion. It's letting you know right now that you have the power to change your life. And the thing is, once you start rolling in this, it may not take the 3 months or the 6 months. It could be faster. But for some people, it might take that long. And the thing is, the time is going to pass anyway. And if you don't change that thought pattern, that one thought that is really the kingpin holding you back from what is divinely yours, you're going to find yourself in 3 months or 6 months in the same place or worse off. Because what we focus on expands. And if you're focusing on the void of what you don't have, that feeling of lack in that area, what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And you don't even have to guess. As entrepreneurs, what happens is that sometimes we feel this sense of lack. Oh, I need the next tactic. I need the next strategy. I need the next AI thing. I need the next. And so you're chasing the outcome through tactics and strategies. And then you're like, why isn't it working for me? It's not working for you because you're doing it backwards. Your superpower is the way you think. Yeah, Michelle says you get more of the same. 100%. Your superpower is the way you think. So when you are thinking now the new thought, whatever the new thought is, and we'll go over that in a little bit, how to discover it. That thinking then produces the emotion. So when you're trying to feel into something, some people can't because they're not wired that way. That's not the way it shows up for them. And then they think that there's something wrong with them. No, there's nothing wrong with you. Everything is happening according to your design. You are wired to succeed. You are wired for love, but you've been working against your natural design to succeed. And the reason it's simple is because this is the way God levels the playing field. It doesn't matter if you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth. It doesn't matter that you might be called a disenfranchised group. According to the world standards, I would be disenfranchised as being a Latina, a single mom, a female. The trifecta. I've never seen myself as disenfranchised, ever. And part of it is probably because of my upbringing, because of my parents, thankfully. Because they really did convince me I can do whatever I put my mind to. That if I put my mind to it, there was nothing that could stop me. In fact, my father, when I saw him last, he's so funny. He just say, Mama, you should have already been a multimillionaire by now. What's wrong? And I said, it's coming, Daddy, it's coming. He's like, yeah, but you should have already been a multimillionaire. You're a little behind. Yeah, I'm not always the sharpest tool in the shed because I forget these things too. So the feelings come as you're thinking. So if you can't feel into it, like, why can't I hold on to this vibration? And you're like, I'm holding on to it. I'm holding on to it. I'm holding on to this real tight. Why can't I hold on to this feeling? What's happening? Now you're getting into, you're spiraling down and you're actually mucking up your energetic field. You're mucking up your mind. For those of you like, I don't believe in energy. Okay, let me give you some scientific terms then. Because it's all the same. Every thought has a chemical signature. So you can put yourself in chemical bliss or chemical chaos. The choice is yours. You get to put your power back. And so when you are thinking thoughts and you're thinking them over and over again, they start to then release the chemical signature that matches that. But your body doesn't have a chemical signature for worry or doubt or anxiety or fear. You're only born with two fears, the fear of falling and the fear of sudden noises. That's it. Everything else is learned. That was a safety issue because you're a baby. So that's why you were born with those two fears. Like you get scared, right? Because you're learning safety and sudden, the sudden noise, you don't want to fall. Those were the only two fears. Everything else is an illusion. Everything else you've been trained to fear, to worry, to doubt, to have anxiety over. That's the good news. The good news is that you can unlearn it. And it does take a little bit of effort. But the only effort that it takes is less than 1% of your day, which we'll talk about. So when you're trying to hold on to this feeling, right, you're doing it out of order. Because if you think the thoughts enough, the feelings organically, naturally, you go into alignment. And then, right, the alignment happens. You'll find yourself doing the actions that you need to. So you say, well, I'm a procrastinator. No, you're calling yourself a procrastinator. And so your brain makes you right. Because now you have self-identified as a procrastinator. Well, I have ADD, ADHD. My mind's all over the place. I can't focus. Okay? Well, you're not even giving your brain, which is the most powerful AI on the planet, to work out how you can flow so you can get more done in less time. Because the gift of ADD people and ADHD people is their ability to see like in 3D, like in actual dimensions. So when you are self-identifying with the bad parts of that, then you're not even leveraging the gift of it. What you focus on expands. The observer effect. Where the mind goes, the man follows. Your mind is part soul and part brain, physical brain. It's a combination. And so where is your mind going? And you know that because if you recall an argument you had with somebody, what happens? You get pissed off all over again. If it's not, especially if it's fresh and you haven't healed through or released it all the way. But the same is true if you start thinking of something that's a lovely thought, a lovely past memory. It's like you can see it on your face, you can hear it in your voice. You might even laugh. It's like you're there. Are you there? We're always, there's all these movies about time traveling. We time travel all the time, especially to the past. And even that is mucky because we didn't get all the details right. You get to time travel. You get to time travel to the future. You get to decide where you land. Isn't that good news? That you have that power, that you can see what's already done, create the vision. And as you're seeing it, right, you're talking about it, you start to feel, that's when you start to feel into it. And then you're like, oh, and then you come back to this present. And that's how you become that person. We're like, oh, you need to become that person. You don't know what kind of person you need to be for that 8-figure life. You see how some of these things don't even make sense? You need to become the person who does the things. How would you know? If you didn't grow up in that environment, you don't know what kind of person that is. But if you can imagine yourself in that life and keep talking about it, even to yourself, a couple of minutes a day, you can just script it out. This is what's happening in my day to day. And see what that would feel, look like. Play it in my imagination. Maybe put some music on. How is it that you learn? How you learn is the way you're going to be able to manifest it. Using the way you're wired to learn to then dream into what that life would look like. And then when you come back to the present, now you're kind of in that juicy energy, right? Because that future self is calling you. It's like you're tethering. In quantum physics, they talk about the string theory, right? There's two particles. And sometimes people use that in the spiritual spaces and say you're connected to somebody else. What if that person's a jackass? I don't want to be connected to that person. I was like, no, I don't want to be connected to that person. I cut those strings, those soul ties. But what if you take that same thought and connect yourself to the future? That future self is calling to you, wants you to have that thing, is already living that life, is cheering you on, and is so proud of you. Use that dream into it. Exercise. It doesn't take that long. Take 5 minutes. Take 10 minutes. That's it. 1% of your day is less than 15 minutes a day. And that's one way where you can start to manifest the life that you want. If you don't have it yet, don't tie it to a specific person, because now you're trying to override their free will. And that's a no-no. Because you want somebody else manipulating you. Do you want somebody else stripping you from your free will? You don't. So not even in your imagination do you do that if you're not already with that person. The next thing I talked about was like the soft life. And for all these I'm talking about, everything's in order in the description. So for ease of reference, you can come back to this and just look at the description. Then we talked about Wednesday, the soft life and how to activate it. And this is why women want the soft life, because they want to be provided for, because we're tired. We've been our own masculine. We've been, the husband. We've been, in this energy of doing for ourselves. I'm like, I'm tired. I want somebody else to take care of me. But the truth is, you can do that. You can create your soft life by getting into flow, by focusing on what am I thinking. That's producing my emotions, which is activating the results, which is activating my actions, which is giving me a certain kind of result. And so I can keep on, working that, because that's in your power. So this call for the soft life for the woman is coming from this deep hunger, this collective hunger and desire to be taken care of. And then we think they were like, well, we're just going to, get it together and look good so that way a man can take care of us. We're the blessing connector. We're the multiplier. We're the nurturer. You give us a house, we'll give you a home. You give us food, we'll give you a meal. We are the ones who transform what is to something better. It is what we do as a female. As women, that is our superpower. And so whether we're with a man or not, it's irrelevant, because we can create that life for ourselves. We get to partner with a man to help him be great. But don't get it twisted. You're the blessing connector. You're the multiplier. You're created naturally for that. So you can create your own soft life by co-creating with the source that is all good and perfect and pure and wants these good things for you, who has set up the universe to respond to you. The universe is responding to you because that's what it's created to do. Some people call it the spirit world. Some people call it the quantum field. All possibilities and probabilities already exist. It has to. Do you know why? Because you need to have a choice. Your free will is the reason why all things already exist. It is just your perception that brings it in. Some people get scared when the economy is tanking. And I got so mad because entrepreneurs should know better. And yet, again, it's another erroneous belief system. Oh, people are not buying because of the economy. No, people are not buying from you. I see plenty of people buying high ticket stuff all the time. I know certain coaches, I've been in those rooms. I know how much it is to be in that room. And it's full, like over 1,000 people. It's not true that people are not buying because of the economy. You believe that, and then you magnetize yourself to those people who believe that too, and then you're wondering why you're not getting sales, why no one's closing with you, why no one's showing up. You're getting what you believe. Your brain is your partner, and you told your AI, your internal AI, This is the program we're running today. We're going to execute this program. Nobody's buying because of the economy. Execute. And then your brain's like, bet. You really believe this. Now I'm going to have you chase every tactic, every strategy, and none of it's going to work. And if it does work, it's going to be like so little. And you're going to be celebrating your crumbs. Finally, something worked. And it was a little bit. Instead of using your superpower brain, your AI, asking it questions, allowing the inspiration, divine inspiration to come for the next action. You do too much. I'm talking to myself too. I've been called into this. It was funny because that was like, this is the season I'm in. So I'm sharing with you what I'm going through. I'm not exempt from this message. I'm being called to this soft life too. Like, up to this point, especially Gen Xers, we've been working like we're orphans. Like, we're not supported. And then we wear this badge of honor. Yeah. I'm a Gen Xer and, we're the real generation of F around and find out. Around, you're going to find out. We've been working since we were like, 12. We've been doing it for ourselves, even if we had guardians or parents around. And we have this badge of honor of acting like orphans. We're not orphans. We can't say, in one breath, that the universe is abundant and saturated in goodness and there's all these opportunities and then act like it's not so. Are any thoughts coming up that you're like, oh, that's the thought? Whatever thoughts are coming up are the thoughts that the divine wants you to reprogram, because you are the AI. And then 95% of the things that you're doing that will be automatic will be in beautiful alignment, and you will flow with ease, and you will have that soft life. That's actually the soft life is being provided for, but you're already provided for. You're asking for a chair you're already sitting in. It's like you're in prison and these thoughts have you imprisoned in a belief system that's not true, but the door is open and you're not recognizing that the door is open. Beloved, the door is open. And all you have to do is change your thought. That's the decision. If you don't have clarity, it's because there's a decision that you haven't made. And maybe the decision is just, I'm going to think a new thought. Why is it that simple? Again, to level the playing field. Because it doesn't matter. You could say, well, I'm not smart enough. It doesn't matter. You can find yourself thinking that you're dumb as a box of rocks. But that's not true either. But if you think it, this will still work for you. It doesn't matter. It's not about intelligence. It's about intention. You can change the course of your life today. You can start this today. That is your breakthrough. That when you have your aha moment, that's the breakthrough. It's not when that man shows up. It's not when the money shows up. It's not when the clients show up. It's not when whatever it is you're waiting for, that job, the house shows up. That's not the breakthrough. The breakthrough is when you get that aha moment like, oh, that's why. Oh, that's the thought. Sneaky little bastard that has been screwing everything up. Sometimes I swear, if that offends you, this is not your, you may exit left. Well, maybe you shouldn't be saying that. Yesterday I was talking about breaking free from what's holding you back. Michelle's like, I love it. Keep it up. She's part of my people. And that's how you break free. I go into more of those videos again. They're in the description so you can watch them in order. And that's how we break free from what's holding us back. What is that? Thoughts. And for those of you who are here, let me know, what is a thought? Maybe you just want more of something, want to experience more. You're like, I don't even know what that's going to feel like. We're going to end with an EFT. But this is how you get your breakthrough. And not only breakthrough, to sustain it. We've seen people who know how to make money, but they don't know how to keep it. I talked about that this week too, and so this is part of the podcast called The Daily Shift. I have another one on here called The Joe Project, and in that one, I was talking about how it was money versus wealth. It was like it's like under 2 minutes, and in that one, it was really the statistics that even though a lot of us go paycheck from paycheck in America, and I'm sure in other parts of the world too, you have people who are making more money and they're still not living wealthy. They're still living paycheck to paycheck. They're still in the same boat. And actually, people who have less than them are actually better off because of the way they have decided to spend. They never learned the lesson of meekness. Meekness is not weakness. It is about being able to do a lot with very little. Basically, it's bootstrapping. Is the ability to bootstrap. And it's not about being meager. It's not about being frugal. It's not about like being stingy or greedy. It's about understanding that when you're looking to bootstrap, you are forcing that beautiful AI mind of yours to be creative and innovative. That is the lesson over and over again. That's how you build wealth. Where from the resources I already have, what can I bootstrap? And then you make it a game, right? So you're not doing it out of this energy of like, I can't believe I have to do all these things. You don't have to, you get to. You can make it fun. And it doesn't mean like everything in your life you have to bootstrap and you always have to bootstrap, right? Because that can also, right, go into excess. And then you're like, then you can get into realms of you're not being generous because you're in that energy of always, super couponing and never wanting to pay full price for something. It's okay to pay full price for things, but it should be when you desire it to. When you desire, when you choose. Not because you have to, because in the moment you want to and you're like, it's a different kind of energy. It really is. So we want you to break free. So all the ones from this week is really, they're like on top of each other. And so this is like, we're tying the bow to this today. And next week, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive deeper into self-love. I talked about that too on the Joe Project. There's one that says, self-love is not selfish. It's necessary. We're told in the good book to love other people. Yes, but if people stop there. It says, as ourselves, we have lost the message of self-love and called it selfish. It is not selfish. It is necessary. This is why so many people are having a mental health crisis. This is one of the main reasons. Is because they didn't learn that lesson. They were loving people, but they weren't loving themselves. And then they started to love people in the wrong ways, in toxic ways, in ways that were not healthy. Yes, we are to love people. Love is our assignment. It's our only assignment. It's a lesson we have to keep on learning over and over and over again, especially people who get on our nerves. We get to practice love with people who get on our nerves, who don't believe what we believe, who just feel like they're so wackadoodle out there from how we see things. That's really, people like to call themselves spiritually mature, but then I see how they're talking about other people and I'm like, no, you're not. You're just as bad as the people that you talk about. And they don't recognize it because they think they're so woke or they think they're so spiritually ascended. You know what? Spiritually ascended people don't say they're spiritually ascended. It's like people who, that saying, it's like, well, when they say, if a guy tells you that he's nice, he's not, because nice people don't go around saying, I'm so nice. Yeah, there's so many people in the spiritual places like, I'm so ascended. No, you're not. I hate to burst your bubble, but you're not. You should. It shouldn't be announced. You don't have to announce it. People should see your love and your light and your kindness and your generosity and your welcoming. That's ascension. The way you love is a proof of ascension. And if you are continually, probably I talk to people throughout time and space. Somebody needs this. And I know these two women who are here. It's not these two women who are here. Whoever else is watching. But that's your ascension test. How are you loving people who did you dirty? How are you talking about people who you feel have it 100% wrong? Are you still wanting to bless them? Sometimes blessing them means that they can't be in your life. I'll bless you from over there. That's wise too. I'm not saying to stay into toxic situations, but really it's about the mouth. I know a lot of people in this space who they really believe that, being a vegan or a vegetarian is the way to ascension. That's what makes you, like, spirit can work through you better. It's what comes out of your mouth that defiles you, not what goes into it. If you want to be a vegan or vegetarian because that's how you feel better. Like some people's bodies, they just function that way, right? They just, when they're in that lifestyle, their body feels like, then that's the right lifestyle for you. Michelle says, I send them peace and prosperity. Yes, that's why she flows in peace and prosperity herself. Because what you reap is what you sow. It comes back. And it always comes back multiplied. It never comes back to one. Never. It always comes back in fruit form, not in seed. Not in seed. And this ascension piece where people think that, I don't drink, and so that makes me holy. I don't eat meat because all life, but really plants are life. It's not an animal, but it's a living thing and you're eating it. So, because what? It doesn't have a heartbeat, so it's not living? It's not. I've seen people who have more love and sweetness who've had to drink it than people who have it. I've witnessed it. I've seen people who call themselves vegans and vegetarians and they're so spiritual and ascended and they don't drink and they don't do this. And they always tell you of all the things that they're not doing and that's why they're so great. It reminds me like when we're dating, right? Why are you giving me that resume? I should be able to experience your juiciness without you having to give me the resume of why I should believe you. And so that's like a trauma response. Why do you feel like you have to give somebody a resume? And then you say you're not religious. Oh, I'm stepping on toes, man. That's okay. I'm a healer. I'll step on your toes. I'll cut that out and then I'll heal you up. You say you're not religious, but you are. Because what is religion? Religion is a set of rules that has no power. Relationship with Source is about being able to really connect to that love frequency and to the source of what's all good and pure and perfect. That's relationship. That's the way it was designed to be. And when we make up all these rules of ascension, you shouldn't be eating animals. You shouldn't be drinking. You should be, I don't know, dancing naked under the moon. I mean, I know some women who do that. They like it. I'm not against it. I'm just saying sometimes people are like, you need to go do those things. I don't. You have one assignment. One. Love. That's it. That's it. Again, it's this manipulation of, it's like a mean girl. Like, remember the movie Mean Girls? It's that religious spirit. I hate that spirit. It's icky. It's like, you have to follow all these rules to sit in our table. We wear pink on Wednesdays. We're not that ascended when we give people a whole list of rules and say that they are unworthy to sit at our table if they don't follow all these rules, when the only rule is love. And that's how you can tell who really loves themselves. Because if you love yourself and you're gracious with yourself and you forgive yourself, no one's 100%, except for the light worker, Yeshua, Jesus. Outside of him, he's our example. We're all doing our best. Nothing has gone wrong. Everything is working the way you're designed to work it out. Take your power back. So whatever that thought that's been coming up to you, like maybe that's a thought. You're not sure? Try this practice. I've been doing this practice this week and it's made such a huge difference. I've had such radical shifts, such radical alignments this week doing this practice that I learned. So right before you go to sleep, like right before, if you don't have a chance to like write it down, just say it out loud, give your AI brain something to do. Because when you're conscious, when you go to sleep, your conscious is knocked out, but your subconscious is awake. And so is your non-conscious, which actually is underneath that. That's really the driver. And so ask the questions. What are the questions that you want to know? Maybe you don't know what thought you should start with. That was actually a thought of mine. I was just like, I have many thoughts. I have a thought about this, about this, about this, about this, about this. I don't know which area to pick, and I don't know which thought to take, because there's a lot of good thoughts you can take too. And so my question was, where do I start? What thought in this season of my life is the one that I need to start working on? And so that was, I asked before I went to sleep, and I asked a few other questions. So because I'm a question person, I asked like 6 questions. The next day I got answers to 5 of them. And then I kept on asking. And then like on the 3rd day, it became very clear for me what it was. And it was really around this life of like just leaning into grace. And that up to this point for me, that Gen X, spirit of, we can do it. I can do it myself. I can figure it out. I'm smart enough. I'll use my talents and gifts and opportunities. It's not a bad thing, but it was taken too far. Where I'm going to have to count more on grace, which means that I can't go into this next season in my life with this I can do it all mentality, or I'll figure it all, or I need to do all this work. Because the increase also means increased rest. And rest is not part of the Gen X language or culture. That's what I love about millennials and Gen Z, is because they came with this, and they're demanding it, right, in the workforce. So people might see millennials and Gen Zs as lazy. No, they'll work. And statistically, if you gave them like unlimited PTO, they actually don't take a lot of PTO. They just want the opportunity that if they want to get the PTO, they have it. They want to be able to work out of joy. They want to like what they're doing and get paid well for it. That's actually in the good book. That's the gift from God. That's the reminder to us. And for people who are in the Gen X generation or boomers, who just like, no, you have to do all this work. You have to do blah, 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 right? No, like God had to actually birth out generations of people to remind us this is the way it's supposed to be. You should be working at a place that gives you joy, that at least is like, that is drawing out your gifts, drawing out your talents. You might not even know what that is, but in a place that is nurturing, is allowing you to figure that out. And it doesn't mean that you're like a cashier or stocking, that you can't learn there. If you've been planted there, there's opportunity for you to learn. There's skill sets for you to develop. There's emotional intelligence, right? Because if you're dealing with people, especially I used to be a cashier, I understand. You waitress, bartender, any of those things, you need to have learn high emotional intelligence to deal with people. It is a great gig. to practice love and emotional intelligence. What should you be learning wherever you're planted? Bloom where you're planted. You can't curse the ground you're in. We always talking about I hate this job, I hate this job. They never promote me, and then they never promote you because you're coming at it from a stinky attitude. Why would they? I used to be a boss. I used to hire people. I dealt with teams from around the world. Why would I hire? Why would I promote you? It doesn't matter that you're good at your job. I was looking for the soft skills because I can train you in the hard skills if you're teachable. But the soft skills, you're gonna have to want that. Stop somebody stop cursing the ground you're in. That's why you're not getting the fruit you want. Stop cursing your marriage. Stop cursing men. You say you want a man, but then you're talking shit about him. You can't have it both ways, sis. There are good men out there. There are choices for you. That's what you should be focusing on. There's plenty of good. There's plenty of fish in the sea. I'm going fishing. I'm gonna catch me a good one. Did you ever watch Popeye? For those, I'm 50. For those of you. And there was this one with this lady, she was like fishing on the boat. She's like, a man. And she saw Popeye and Pluto. Do you remember that one? A man, just go fishing. But even fishermen are picky. They want a certain kind of fish. Do you even know what you want? But you have to believe that they're out there. You have to perceive it. You have to believe that that's true. Because it is all of this is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's how you can frame it for yourself. What is the self-fulfilling prophecy that you want to live in? What is the self-fulfilling prophecy that you want to live out? Because it's already happening. You just have to do it now by design. It's in your power. So we're going to do something called an EFT to close out. And an EFT is emotional freedom technique. You might know it as tapping. If you're new to it, think of it like acupuncture without the needles. But it's really giving you emotional regulation. Again, right? We think and then we feel and then we act. But the feeling part is like it's the middleman, right? If we're thinking a certain way, it's going to activate a certain kind of emotion. If we're holding on to that emotion, it's going to then cause a certain kind of behavior. So when we are not emotionally regulated, think about this. And I had learned this, I think it was either this week or last week, from Caroline Leaf, Caroline Leaf is a neuroscientist. And she really believes, she loves her work. She's very excited over her work. And she really believes what I believe, right? That we're made in the image and likeness of God, that we have these amazing brains, that we have these amazing tools that we have been birthed with, that we're wired to succeed, we're wired for love, and science shows that. And she phrased it in a way that stuck. And I was like, oh my gosh. Every time we're holding on to these negative thoughts, they are like physically causing brain damage. We're damaging our brain. We're damaging our physical bodies. So even if you're like, this is a little too woo-woo, this is the science. When you're not thinking on good things, again, love is the assignment. Because we're wired for love, we're wired to succeed. Anything outside of that, we're physically damaging ourselves. But we can fix it too. And that's the good news. That we have been given these divine tools. Again, it's simple, to level the playing field. And today can be your day where everything changes. So EFTs help because every point that we're going to tap the top of our head. I kind of think like in the middle, which is good, like this. And then like the ends of your eyebrows, the middle. Everything is hitting a different point. And actually also is regulating like worry and, it's like diminishing it. So it's like, right, eyebrows underneath. This is like the middle, like the crevice of your chin here, your collarbone, and then we're gonna do our wrist. And like the risk part is to release worry and anxiety. So we're going to do that today. And then Michelle has said her thing is to enjoy life, be happy, healthy, and prosperous with love, love, and more love. Yes. And then when we go like this, we're going to start it's called the setup phrase. And the setup phrase is the karate chop. And what the karate chop does is that it helps to, it's like psychological reversal. And there's a lot of science around why this works. In fact, one of the things I had learned a few months ago is that doing an hour of tapping reduces your cortisol levels up to 46%, which is probably why, like, when I was doing a lot of it during the day, I started to drop weight easily, right? Because again, you're emotionally regulating. And the way the EFTs work is that we have to confront something. So we're going to say some negative things. If you're not used to saying something negative, you're like, I don't really want to bring that into my life. What's not confronted is not changed. What you suppress will eventually oppress you. That's what I did. I was in that toxic positivity because I wouldn't confront it. You need to confront. And this is a safe way for your body to confront the things. And then we're going to take our power back because we're going to choose to overcome. And then we're going to say what it is that we actually want, right? Because that's what we want. We want to focus on what we want. We say what's happening right now, and we think we're reporting the news. Stop reporting the news and make it. You get to make the news by deciding where you're going to land, by deciding which way you're going to go, by deciding that in 3 months' time, this is the 1% model, doing something every day that you're renewing your mind toward that thing that you want around the thought that you are now creating. The scientists call it the trees of your mind because it looks like trees on your physical brain. So you have these, and Caroline Leaf has this, Dr. Caroline Leaf has this demonstration where she has like this tree and it looks black and gnarly, like, Lord of the Rings kind of really ugly tree. And then like this, think of like a plush fern, right? Or a beautiful tree, a bonsai, right? That's really flourishing. And so when you're doing this, you're replacing the thought, the negative thought, with a better thought, right? It's the better, higher thought where you're going. It starts to melt down that one, and now something has to take its place because you're creating a void. So that's what the EFT does. It helps you to do all those things at once. It's probably one of the best manifestation tools you can have, because if it's telling you to confront what's not working, or what you're seeing, or what you're feeling. And then it's asking you to take your power back by saying what is it that you want to buy into? What are you saying yes to now? What is a thought that you want to embed now? And it does take a little bit. You need to do it every single day for at least 90 days. But if you start doing it, you're going to start to see a shift within you. Again, that breakthrough, like, within about, my experience with my clients has been like about 40 days. Like 40 days. It could be faster depending on what you were doing before. But the time is going to pass anyway. And if you do nothing, guess what's going to change? Nothing. And people don't do this practice of the 1% model because they're like, it's too easy. Because we still have this orphan spirit. I want to go do it myself. Okay. How's that working for you? Are you exhausted enough yet? Are you pissed off enough yet? Are you frustrated enough yet? Are you tired enough yet? Let me know when you get to your yet. You can do what you want. You're grown. Michelle says 40 days and 40 nights. Sound familiar? Yes. 40 is the number of trials. And you will have that resistance, but the resistance isn't from external. It's internal. You think of it like the thoughts are like kings. You are displacing one and bringing in the other to take over and to rule. Of course, it's going to be a fight. But the good news is, beloved, you win. That's your destiny. You succeed anyway. You're going to get that thing. And all you need is a little bit of tenacity. All you need is 1%. You are one thought away from the life that you want. If you need help with that, you know what to do. I have different options for you. You can work with me one-on-one or join the membership, which is the society. I coach them twice a month, and I have other resources in there for them. Or you can join the ARC, which is my inner circle. I have a lot of also free tools here on YouTube. Take advantage of all the free things because it all works. You just have to work it. Give yourself the gift of time. It's going to pass anyway. Give yourself the gift of the 1%. Aren't you worth 14 minutes and 40 seconds? Isn't what you say you want worth you focusing and just loving on yourself for 14 minutes and 40 seconds? We've been here almost an hour. This has been 1% of your week. Let's wrap it up. Repeat after me. Today, I take responsibility for my life, which just means I have the ability to respond. And I'm also responding to the ability of love. Because true love, real love, that can conquer anything. And I have that in me. I am wired with the good stuff. I am wired for love. I am wired to succeed. And so it is. Take a breath. Hold. Release. Top of the head. I'm having so many thoughts right now. And some of them might feel as though it's going this way, it's going that way. And maybe I have more than one area that I would like to change. And that's okay too. But I'm going to choose to just focus on one thing, one thought. And even if I just do that for 21 days, there is something around that number too. I can focus for 21 days because maybe 90 feels too much for me. Even though, yes, logically, the time is going to pass anyway. But 21 days might feel better. And then I just keep on doing another cycle of 21. And that'll get me to the 90 days. That'll get me to the 180 days. Because I do want a lifestyle change. I deserve that. That lifestyle that I want, it's not greedy, it's growth. The universe is ever expanding. The rainforest shows us abundance and ease. It adjusts itself. Even the earth has enough trees. In one spot of the earth, I forget which place, it's either Greenland or Iceland, has enough trees to give oxygen for the whole earth. There are more bugs and insects than I care to think about the vast variety of animals and what they're made to do. Abundance is everywhere. And that's why I feel like I want it. I can see it. And the truth is that it's mine. But when I don't know who I am, it can open up the doors to imposter syndrome, to me feeling like a fraud, to me feeling as though I can't do it. And I can make a whole list of why I can't. And today I say, so what? Maybe up to this point I couldn't. So what? Sometimes I might get stuck around deserving. I say I deserve it, but in my heart, I don't feel like I do. Because I remember the things that I haven't done that I should, or that I think I should, or remember the things I shouldn't have done. And I'm still carrying around some guilt or shame around that. And today I say, so what? So what if I don't deserve it? We don't always get what we deserve. Because I have gotten some things in my life in the negative sense that I did not deserve. I did not contract for that. I did not sow into that. I actually did nothing wrong. And I got some things there that I did not deserve. And so now I turn my life around. And if I was able to experience those things that I did not deserve, it's time for me to experience the good things that I don't maybe deserve, but are still mine by divine right. So I activate that truth. I call forth the thought that I need to change, the thought that I need to up level. I command my eyes to see it, the eyes of my imagination, the eyes of my heart, to see the thoughts that I need to change. Because nothing has gone wrong. Everything's been working the way I'm wired to succeed. And now I choose to take my power back. I welcome in the new thought. I welcome in the exposure of the thought that's been holding me back from the thing that I wanted, has been keeping me at a plateau. It's gone. It's losing its power even now. It's dissolving even now. I'm calling forth a crop failure to everything attached to that wrong thought. And I breathe life into the new one. I welcome the new in. It is spring after all. And so spring is about resurrection life. It's about the seeds that have been planted coming up to bloom. And it's my time to bloom. This is my season. This is my turn. This is my life. And I bless it. I bless the good seeds to bloom. I bless myself. And I bless everything I'm attached to. Because that is what is mine by divine right. I bless the life and I create my life by design. And so it is. Take a breath. Hold. Release. Well, thank you so much for those of you who are able to be with me live. Thank you so much for those of you who've been here on replay. I love you very much. And for those of you who are live, go ahead after this. I would love to know, unless the chat is still available, how it was for you. What was your aha moment? How are you feeling now after the EFT? And I can't wait to serve you further next week. And until next time, which will be very, very soon, may God's riches and best be yours, because it already is, beloved. It already is. Sorry for my finger. I'm trying to turn it off.